Let me jump in for 1 second here, though, because I'm getting a question from the audience, which, so yes, these tools are great, Slack, this virtual presencing, but there's some people who are feeling micromanaged and
Mm.
overly monitored and are worried about the big brotherish nature of this technology and the way it enables leaders who have a tendency to micromanage even more. I mean, think about how a Google Doc works. You can see exactly how quickly people are typing or what they're typing or when they're online. And so, any how do we think about that? Or what should leaders do? What should team members do?
Yeah.
Betta, do you want to?
Oh,
Betta, do
sorry.
you want to?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. There are, you want to be careful about this because there are tools like, time trackers and time loggers and those kinds of things too, where people they have this tendency then to sort of say, well, how many hours did you work and that sort of thing. And one of the things we can think about a little bit, which I think are very good techniques, is to think about results only work environments. And what we're asking people to do is to say, and I think this points back to the other case as well, is to say, what do you actually care about? What you care about is the result. And so if you have a team that is held accountable and that is focused on a result, one of the questions might be, yes, you care about a timeline, you care about a deadline, you care about being on budget, you care about the result itself. And so going back to the manager to say, what is it that you are, if we have a clarity of focus and a clarity of purpose, if we know what people are meaning to contribute, and then we can keep people engaged because they're the right team members who are meant to be there, then as a leader and as a manager of that team, right, if you can still have your agile, like daily check-ins to make sure people are on track and don't have questions, but your questions should be more like, what can I do to help? To make sure that you need the things that you need. And then you probably are meeting maybe once a week to make sure, again, that people are coordinating. But it is about the result. It's not about making sure that you worked, 15 hours a day that you worked 9 to 5. That shouldn't matter. So if I want to work from 3 in the morning on, that's the whole point, right? You're allowing me to have that perk, that flexibility. And let me pilot it to show you that the result is going to happen. If it doesn't happen, then we have a different kind of problem. And that's something that we have to focus on. Why? What's the underlying issue there? Not more micromanagement. We don't need to micromanage when we're in the office. Why would we need to micromanage when we're in a virtual team?
Yeah. Hey, Beta, I have a question, Diane. Can I ask Beta a question? And so, have you, that's great that you like to work at 3 in the morning because that definitely would be me. But one of those questions that I'm curious about does it help to get clarity regarding when we're going to do a report out? So if have a results only kind of workforce and say, listen, on Friday is when we do the report out. So what happens between Monday and Friday is the work. And then this is when we are scheduled to do the updates and report out to let everyone know from management to every team member that this is how we demonstrate that we're making progress. And so for me, it feels like sometimes those programs help or whatever a person uses to understand, but just scheduling those key gateways, if you will, or critical feedback points to demonstrate progress. Have you seen those type of things be successful?
Yeah, one of the things that I would also say as a best practice is to use asynchronous kinds of techniques for updates. So to keep people updated so that if I'm leading a team or if I'm a team member, I want to keep people updated as to where I am. So again, I can't look over my cubicle or walk down the hall to know what you're producing. So I don't need to have a meeting, constant meetings to know, tell me, the 20 minutes of your update, because I want to, I don't want to hear that. That's so boring. But if I can keep updating of what I've been working on, it also helps us coordinate and not be redundant on working on the same thing. Meetings should be for problem solving, for creative conversations, for working through tough problems. That's when we want to be in synchronous kinds of conversations. And there's also great sort of things out there like Mural or Muro. There's great things to do some brainstorming techniques with that too, that we can really do that. But don't use meetings for that. Use the the project management techniques out there for updating. Or frankly, yes, you're right, Google Docs is out there for that, but it should be used within the team so that we can tell each other, yep, this is, I've been working and this is what I've been doing.